involved in speech, then involved in intelligence, in memory, behavior, and emotional state. S receives and interprets impulses from ear and nose. Occipital lobe, it contains visual area which receives and interprets visual impulses. So thalamus acts as a relay station for all sensory messages entering the brain, right? So in case of bright light, we close our eye, pupil. So that is also coordinated by the midbrain. Hello everyone, welcome back to session 5 of this interesting chapter called Neural Control and Coordination. Myself, B. Shobharani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. Moving on to the remaining concepts of this wonderful chapter called Neural Control and Coordination. Hope you remember in the last session we studied about the brain. Brain, which is a part of the central nervous system, and we all know how important this brain is. We know that the brain is protected over by a brainy box called cranium, hence human beings are called as craniates. And in the last session we studied that the whole of the brain is divided into 3 very major parts, that is the forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain. So the forebrain, which is also called prosencephalon, midbrain, which is called mesencephalon, and hindbrain, which is also called rhomencephalon. The major part, the largest part of the brain is the cerebrum. As we all know that the cerebrum is divided into 2 halves, that is the right cerebral hemisphere and left cerebral hemisphere bounded by corpus callosum. And each cerebral hemisphere is made up of 4 lobes. Each cerebral hemisphere is made up of 4 lobes. One is called the frontal lobe and the parietal lobe, temporal lobe and the occipital lobe. So here you can see the 4 lobes. Frontal lobe, then parietal lobe. Here you can see the parietal lobe, then temporal lobe and the occipital lobe. So 4 lobes, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So each cerebral hemisphere, as we know, the whole of the cerebrum is divided into 2 halves. Cerebrum is divided into 2 halves, that is the right cerebral hemisphere and the left cerebral hemisphere. So each cerebral hemisphere is made up of 4 lobes. What are they? Frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe and occipital lobe. Now let us understand the functions of these lobes. Frontal lobe, parietal lobe, and in the next slide we'll learn about the temporal lobe and the occipital lobe. I think all of us know that each lobe is concerned in carrying on some important functions. Like for example, the frontal lobe, that is this frontal lobe, controls coordinated movement of the body. So movement of the body and involved in speech and intelligence, then memory and behavior, then emotional state. See, frontal lobe is mainly involved in controlling and coordinating movement of the body, then involved in speech, then involved in intelligence, in memory, behavior and emotional state. See, imagine how important this particular lobe of the brain is. So as we know, each cerebral hemisphere is divided into 4 lobes, namely frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe and occipital lobe. So frontal lobe, here you can see in this picture the frontal lobe. What is it involved in? It controls and coordinates movement of the body, involves in speech, involves in intelligence, memory, behavior, and emotional state. Now moving on to the next lobe of the cerebrum, that is the parietal lobe. It is the receiving center for the sensations. So parietal lobe is involved in what? It is the receiving center. Receiving center for sensations. For sensations such as what? Such as temperature, pressure, then touch, pain, etc. If very hot object when we touch, immediately we respond. So that temperature, the feeling, the receiving center of sensations like the temperature, the pain, the pressure, all that is mediated by this very important part of the brain called the parietal lobe. So as we know that each cerebral hemisphere is made up of 4 lobes: frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital lobe. And the frontal lobe is involved in controlling and coordinating movement of the body, involved in speech, involved in intelligence, involved in memory, behavior, and emotional state. Whereas the parietal lobe is the receiving center for sensations such as temperature, pressure, touch, pain, etc. Now let us move on to the remaining 2 lobes of the cerebral hemisphere, that is the temporal lobe and the occipital lobe. So the third one is the temporal lobe and fourth one is the occipital lobe. So temporal lobe, it receives and interprets impulses from ear and nose. So temporal lobe receives and interprets impulses from ear and nose. See, it receives and interprets impulses from ear and nose. Like we hear the sound, we smell the smell, all that is made possible by this particular lobe called, each part of the brain called the lobes like frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital lobe are involved in various functions. Like for example, the temporal lobe is involved in receiving and interpreting impulses from ear and nose. Occipital lobe, fifth one is olfactory lobe. Yes, occipital lobe, it contains visual areas which receive and interpret visual impulses from the eyes. So this occipital lobe is what it is, it contains visual areas. Visual means vision, then which receives and interprets the visual impulses. Right? So that is about the occipital. Olfactory lobe, again, smell. It is concerned with smell and it is not well developed in man. So it is concerned with smell, but it is not well developed in man. So temporal lobe, it receives and interprets impulses from ear and nose. Occipital lobe, it contains visual areas which receive and interpret visual impulses from the eyes. Olfactory lobe, it is concerned with smell, but it is not well developed in man. So hope you have understood what is the function of frontal lobe. Frontal lobe is mainly in what are the 4 lobes of each cerebral hemisphere: frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe, and occipital lobe. So frontal lobe controls and coordinates movement of the body, involves in speech, involves in intelligence, memory, behavior, emotional state. Then parietal lobe is the receiving center for sensations such as temperature, pressure, touch, pain, etc. Then temporal lobe is receives and interprets impulses from ear and nose. Occipital lobe, it contains visual area which receives and interprets visual impulses. Olfactory lobe, it is concerned with smell, but it is not well developed in man. But in animals, it is well developed. Then moving on to diencephalon. It consists, we know the next part of the forebrain is the diencephalon. It consists of thalamus and hypothalamus. Now let us understand about the diencephalon. So hope we have understood about the forebrain, which consists of cerebrum. Cerebrum is divided into right and left cerebral hemisphere by a partition, that is bounded by corpus callosum, and each cerebral hemisphere is divided into 4 lobes, namely the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe, and occipital lobe. Also, we have studied the functions of each lobe of each cerebral hemisphere. Moving on to the next very important part of the forebrain, that is diencephalon, which consists of thalamus and hypothalamus. So thalamus and hypothalamus are also called as endocrine glands. Moving on to thalamus. Let us study about thalamus, then about hypothalamus. So here you can see the thalamus. Then here we can see the thalamus. So thalamus, it acts as a relay station. Relay station means what? Pass on the messages, information entering the brain. So thalamus acts as a relay station for all sensory messages entering the brain. See how important this part of the brain is. So thalamus and hypothalamus play a very great role, right? So thalamus, it acts as a relay station. Relay station means that which passes on the information or messages from entering the brain, that enters the brain. Hypothalamus. So hypothalamus, it is also called as master of master gland. Why? Because we all know pituitary is called as master gland. Pituitary gland is called, here you can see the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is called the master gland because it produces so many hormones which control the whole functioning of the body. But there is somebody to control pituitary, and that is the hypothalamus. Hence it is called master of master gland. And also we have studied that hypothalamus produces 2 types of hormones. One is called oxytocin, which is called the birth hormone, and the other one called vasopressin, which is also called as ADH. We all know what is the role played by ADH in regulation of water in urine in a very interesting chapter called excretory products and their elimination. So hypothalamus produces 2 types of hormones called oxytocin, which is called birth hormone, which is very important for the women at the time of childbirth. Hence it is also called as birth hormone. And vasopressin is very important, where it regulates the water content in the urine, or if not, if hyposecretion of ADH will lead to water diuresis. Hypersecretion also will lead to concentrated urine. Dilute urine, hyposecretion. Concentrated urine, hypersecretion. So now, and these 2 hormones are produced by hypothalamus, and it is received by the posterior lobe of pituitary. Actually, we all know that pituitary, which is called as a master gland, is divided into 2 parts. Pituitary is divided into anterior pituitary, or it is called adenohypophysis. Adenohypophysis, or posterior pituitary, which is otherwise called neurohypophysis. So anterior pituitary produces the hormones of its own kind, like FSH, LH, MSH, GH. All those are the hormones which are produced by the anterior pituitary or adenohypophysis. But posterior pituitary, or otherwise called neurohypophysis, does not produce the hormones of its own kind. Instead, it receives the hormones produced by the hypothalamus, that is oxytocin and so it just receives. Hence, oxytocin and vasopressin are called as neurohormones. They are called as neurohormones. Why they are called as neurohormones? Because they are not produced by the pituitary, but they are received by the hypothalamus. Hence, they are called as neurohormones. So important is hypothalamus. So now let us understand. So it is associated with pituitary, and one more endocrine gland called pineal gland, which was once called as a vestigial gland. That what do you mean by vestigial gland? Though it is present, it is of no use. But pineal gland produces a very important hormone called melatonin, and this hormone is very much important for regulation of sleep-wake cycle, and also it controls reproduction. So it also secretes two hormones such as antidiuretic hormone ADH or vasopressin and oxytocin. As I said, hypothalamus maintains internal environment called homeostasis. A very important process is happening inside our body called homeostasis, maintenance of internal environment, coordination among all the organs, bringing about the functioning of the organs meticulously. All that is maintained by hypothalamus by controlling carbohydrate metabolism, control body temperature, maintain concentration of glucose in the blood pressure, etc. It also controls hunger, thirst, and sex. See, hypothalamus has a great role to play. So, diencephalon includes what? Diencephalon, which is the part of the forebrain. First is cerebrum. So, already we have studied about diencephalon consists of thalamus and hypothalamus. So thalamus, it acts as relay station for all sensory messages entering the brain. Hypothalamus, it is also already I have explained. It is associated with pituitary and pineal gland. It also secretes two hormones such as antidiuretic hormone that is called ADH. ADH is also called as antidiuretic hormone, or it is also called as vasopressin. And oxytocin, as I said, it is called as birth hormone. Where particularly for females, it is very important at the time of childbirth or delivery. Then hypothalamus not only produces those two types of hormones, it also helps in maintaining internal environment, that is homeostasis, by controlling carbohydrate metabolism, control body temperature, maintain concentration of glucose in the blood pressure, etc. It also controls hunger, thirst, and sex. Moving on to the midbrain. So far we studied about the forebrain. So forebrain, we studied about cerebrum, then we studied about diencephalon. Diencephalon includes what? Thalamus and hypothalamus. So midbrain is also called as what? Mesencephalon. So it is found between the forebrain and the hindbrain. So it is found between the forebrain and the hindbrain, and it consists of nerve cells called gray matter and nerve fibers called white matter. So midbrain, which is called mesencephalon, is found between the forebrain and the hindbrain. It consists of nerve cells called gray matter and nerve fibers called white matter. And the midbrain is involved in coordinating sudden visual reflexes like constriction of pupil of eyes in response to bright light, right? So in case of bright light, we close our eye, pupil. So that is also coordinated by the midbrain. And not only that, it coordinates sudden auditory reflexes. Like if there is a sudden sound, we just close. So even the auditory reflexes are regulated by this midbrain, and also regulates muscular tone and posture. See how important this midbrain is. So as we know, the whole of the brain is divided into three major parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. So forebrain consists of cerebrum and diencephalon. Diencephalon consists of thalamus and hypothalamus. Midbrain, which is called mesencephalon, is found between forebrain and hindbrain. It consists of nerve cells called gray matter and nerve fibers called white matter. It coordinates sudden visual reflexes. Like visual means vision, like constriction of pupil of eyes in response to bright light. It coordinates sudden auditory reflexes and regulates muscular tone and posture. Hindbrain, next is hindbrain. Hindbrain is also called as rhombencephalon. And very important parts of rhombencephalon or hindbrain is cerebellum, pons varolii, and medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata. This is the hindbrain. So hindbrain, cerebellum. Here you can see cerebellum. It is present below the posterior part of the cerebellum. So this cerebellum is also called as little brain. It is called as little brain. It has central white matter and surrounded by grey matter. It plays a major role in maintenance of body equilibrium. Body balance is maintained and balanced, and it also coordinates muscular movements. So midbrain, it is found between the forebrain and the hindbrain. It consists of nerve cells, that is a grey matter, and nerve fibers, white matter. It coordinates sudden visual reflexes like constriction of pupil of eyes in response to bright light. It coordinates sudden auditory reflexes and regulates muscular tone and posture. Hindbrain, which is also called as rhombencephalon, consists of cerebellum, pons varolai, and medulla oblongata. Cerebellum, which is also called as little brain, is present below the posterior part of the cerebrum, and it has central white matter and surrounded by grey matter. It plays a major role in maintenance of body equilibrium and balance. It coordinates even muscular movements. So pons varolai. Here you can see the pons varolai. Here it is the pons varolai. Pons varolai. And here it comes as brainstem. This is called as brainstem. Right? This whole thing is called as brainstem. So pons varolai. So pons varolai, it is situated in front of the cerebellum. So it is situated in front of the cerebellum and connects midbrain with medulla oblongata. The interior of the pons is made up of grey matter, which gives rise to 12 pairs of cranial nerves. So pons varolai, as we know, the hindbrain consists of cerebellum. So cerebellum. Second one is pons varolai. Then third one is medulla oblongata. So pons varolai, it is situated in front of the cerebellum. This is the cerebellum and connects midbrain with medulla oblongata. And the interior of the pons is made up of grey matter, which gives rise to 12 pairs of cranial nerves. What do I mean by cranial nerves? The nerves which arise from the brain. Then medulla oblongata. It is a pyramidal structure present below the pons and continues as spinal cord. It controls what? Cardiac activity, respiration, etc. It has a reflex center for reflex actions like vomiting, sneezing, coughing, etc. See how important each and every part of brain is. So pons varolai, it is situated. So as we all have studied that, the whole of the brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain consists of cerebrum and diencephalon again thalamus and hypothalamus. Mesencephalon already we have studied. Then hindbrain or rhombencephalon consists of cerebellum, pons varolai, medulla oblongata. Already we have studied about cerebellum, which is called the little brain. Then pons varolai, it is situated in front of the cerebellum and connects midbrain with medulla oblongata. The interior of the pons is made up of grey matter, which gives rise to 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Medulla oblongata, it is a pyramidal structure present below the pons and continues as spinal cord. It controls cardiac activity, respiration, etc. It has reflex center for reflex actions like vomiting, sneezing, coughing and etc. Hope you have understood the different parts of brain, namely the forebrain or prosencephalon, midbrain or the mesencephalon, the hindbrain and the rhombencephalon. So very important all the parts of the brain are. Already we have studied that the cerebrum has 4 very important lobes called the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe and occipital lobe. Then diencephalon with thalamus and hypothalamus. Then mesencephalon, then the hindbrain with cerebellum, pons varolai and medulla oblongata. I'll be back in the coming session with some more interesting concepts of this chapter. Till then, goodbye and thank you.